Are you trying to dominate your fantasy football league? Do you want so many championship rings it's impossible to sign autographs? Well, crack open a beer, pour yourself a glass of bourbon, and settle in, because you've come to the right place. Welcome to HammerCast. We're here to talk all things football, barbecue, bourbon, and beer. Here are your hosts, Kenneth Smith, David Stidham, and Chad Taylor. It's time to grind.
Hey, welcome back to the HammerCast Network. I am your host, Kenneth Smith, a.k.a. HammerConda, and I am joined again by my good friends, David Stidham and Jesse Schuster. How we doing, boys?
Fantastic. You doing all right tonight?
Oh, God, I'm doing really good, Bubba. What about you, Dave?
Yeah. I'm doing great. Ready to go.
Yeah, man, I had a good day. It's hot as you know what up here or out here in Tennessee, but Jesse's down in Jacksonville. God, man.
Yeah. I don't want to hear your sob story about how hot it is. It was like 100. It's like a record week down here. Like 100 feels like 110, they say, and the humidity is really.
God. That's cool, man. Hey, Jesse's got some really cool stuff to talk to us tonight about. We're going to talk about some running backs. We're going to have a really good time. We're going to do some shot takes. Before we get started, Dave, what are you drinking on, Bubba?
I'm back on the bourbon, man. I got to stay true to the brand. Whistle Pig, 10-year rye,
Pig.
single barrel, baby, and so I'm sipping on some pig.
Sipping on that pig, baby. Jesse, you drinking coffee in the 150-degree weather down there?
No, tonight I went pinky up a little classier. I have the cherry 7-Up.
Oh,
to keep me alive tonight. So getting wild.
Man, I haven't had cherry 7-Up in forever. I haven't even seen them forever.
I bet that's good. I bet that would be good with some vodka.
Yeah, it would be. I've got Diet Mountain Lightning tonight. I ran out of Diet Mountain Dew, and I mean, it was 68 cents at the store for a whole 2-liter. I was like, I can't beat that. Diet Mountain Lightning, and then I've got a little bit of my Butcher's bourbon in there, just a little bit.
So we got 2 hitting the bourbon tonight. Let's do it.
2 hitting the bourbon.
That's right.
Hey, Jesse, I tell you what, why don't you just bring us right into the article that you wrote for us. It's on HammerCast.com, and kind of let our audience and listeners know what it's about.
Yeah. Before he does, I'm telling you guys, just tune in. Get your pens out. Get your notebooks. This is one of the best articles. It's all about volume. It's about opportunity. It's all about the red zone. And Jesse did an amazing job on this article. And so I've been looking forward to this pod for a long time because I really wanted him to talk through how he put this together and some of the key players that he really wants to hit on. So, man, Jesse, This is exciting. Go for it.
Yeah, definitely, guys. I appreciate, again, the opportunity being on. I love it every chance I get to be on here with you guys. The article that I wrote, I wanted to hit on what is the most valuable part of a running back. And like the guy said, if you haven't had a chance, you're going to have to go on to HammerCast.com and check out the chart that I have because it breaks down a little bit better in the top 12. So when we're talking about the top 12 of running backs, that's your tier 1 of running backs, your starters. So what we're looking at in that article is we're determining our opportunity share and efficiency in the red zone. That's the most important thing. And I talk about, seeing the color red as kind of the start of it. When you first hear about red, most people think, bad things, negative things like that. When we're talking about the running backs, you are actually talking about something that is the most highly valuable situation. So when we look at that first section there in our top 12 running backs, we're talking about things inside the 20-yard line.
Yep.
And when you look at that inside the 20, it's still valuable because you're at the 20-yard line, and that is technically the red zone. But generally, things as you get closer, and it talks about it in this article, as you get closer inside the 10, inside the 5, those touches become way more valuable. Correct. It's just like a target in the receiving game is more valuable to a running back than a carry in the running game, if that makes sense.
Yep. Especially rushing PPR, of course.
Right. Exactly. A rushing attempt is valued much less than a target in the passing game. So these guys, as they get closer, that value gets higher. So that's what you want to kind of look at. You want to look at guys not just inside the red zone, so to speak. You want to look at guys that are inside the 10-yard line and inside the 5-yard line. That's where I really want to focus on, because 20-yard line, a lot of times 20 and in, those are some plays that are broken plays, things that where they got out of control and got loose. Whereas inside the 10 and 5, that's where they're getting every opportunity from their team to punch it in. So when I look at these guys, of course, Christian McCaffrey, when you're looking at the top 12 of running backs inside the 10, inside the 5, he dominates. He's at the top in both of them.
What I love is the fact that you actually got it, and so when people actually go to the website and download the article, I love the fact that you've got it broken down by the top 12 of all 3 categories.
Yeah,
here they are, and you also have the amount of carries that they had. Here's the total carries inside the 20, the 10, the 5, and it's really interesting to see how the names change. And so, but anyway, I digress. Go ahead.
Exactly. So that's what I looked at. I looked at the first column, the second column, the third column. By then I've got the numbers up there. I'm looking at the names, and I'm seeing what name is popping up the most, which guys. And then when I went from there, I would look at a specific, for example, Leonard Fournette. Obviously, I'm a Jags fan. I'm going to look a little harder. As you can see in both of the charts, he's not in the last chart inside the 5. But what I did look at when I went back and looked at Leonard Fournette's opportunities inside the 5, he got every single one of them. So that's why he's number 1 on my list, because inside the 5, he received 100% of the Jaguars' attempts inside the 5-yard line last year. So it wasn't like they had a bunch of opportunities inside the red, but he received every single one of them. Is that going to change this year? I doubt it. They brought in Chris Thompson, a lighter scat back, to be a receiving back. Yes, Gardner Minshew will run the ball, but last year they only had 3 rushing touchdowns total as a team, which was I think 15-year low. So for me, it's a guy that I know people are avoiding because they're afraid they're going to lose the receiving ability from Fournette. But for me, his floor is safe because he's going to get that volume inside that 5, inside that 10. And if you look at, he's still inside the 20 in the red zone. He's still getting a ton of attempts inside the 20, inside the 10, inside the 5.
Yeah, I'm looking at Fournette right now. I got the chart up, and I see him. Obviously, he was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He was 6th overall with red zone carries inside the 20 and down. And then I noticed that he was actually 10th overall inside the 10. And but obviously inside that 5-yard line, he's not listed in the top 12.
Yeah, inside, it's just because they didn't have that many opportunities as a team,
right?
So like I said, some of these guys on this list, I just wanted to clear up why I might have picked them. Yeah, you're gonna lean Fournette. Maybe he's got Jaguar stuff all behind him. Maybe that's why I got top of the list here. But it's not just because I'm a Fournette fan. It's also because of his inside the 5 opportunities and what he is doing with as a team, getting every single one of those carries.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's really interesting how people are fading that guy
big time right now.
I think there's a lot of value to be had right now because I'm in a draft right now, and we're wrapping up round 3, and he's still out there. Yeah. And who knows, he may go round 4, and if that happens, I mean, that's just, that's robbery when you think about the volume. I mean, people talk about volume. Well, this chart right here shows you who's getting the volume. So
exactly. He's the guy that's going to get it for you. He's going to punch it in. If you're talking half PPR leagues, his value goes up even more. If you're talking about, no points per reception, it keeps rising. So to me, it's a guy that you can kind of get later on. Same thing when you're looking at this chart. Another guy, I know we weren't trying to hit all those guys on the list, but I just got to talk about him real quick. But David Montgomery, if you look at David Montgomery on this chart, he was top 12, number 12 inside the 20. He was number 11 inside the 10, and then he jumped up to number 6 inside the 5. So
yeah, he's as a rookie. Cats.
Yeah, as a rookie on a team that was completely falling apart during midseason, it's a guy that I like for opportunity, and especially opportunity near that red zone inside the 5. He catches the ball. I think he's going to be a real dynamic player this year. He's going in 5th and 6th rounds of normal redraft leagues. He's a guy that you're getting at value and he's getting just the most opportunity and efficiency that you can get inside
you just said the word right there. He's getting the most opportunity, and he is really, if you look at the ADP, I think he's definitely 100% the last high volume guy being drafted, and he's typically going fifth, sometimes sixth round.
Yes,
and I like him there. I'm not taking him in the first 3 rounds because I don't think he's particularly dynamic.
Well, and you don't have to now. That's why he's
right.
You know what? Though it's funny. Like I feel like that he's making a little bit of a comeback on people's perception.
Well, that's because he's guaranteed volume.
But I mean, nothing changed over the offseason since the draft and now. But I don't know. I feel like people just kind of freaked out a little bit and just faded him so hard.
Well, when people get burned, they invested a second, third round last year in their draft for this guy, and although he still did, decent, especially for a rookie running back, he burned people. So that's all they remember. Fantasy
bias is a hell of a drug.
It is,
yeah,
and it is funny, but that's what's happened to him, and he's falling, and it's a guy that you can see across all 3 of these categories. He hits, and not what a lot of these guys lack. Not a lot of them, but some of them lack is the receiving ability part. Yes, they have Tariq Cohen, but David Montgomery had a lot of targets and a lot of receptions for a team that didn't.
Let's put it in even better perspective. David Montgomery only had 3 less carries inside the 5-yard line than Christian McCaffrey.
There you go. Exactly.
That is spicy. Guys, you have to go to HammerCast.com. It's so easy to find this stuff. Just go to the articles section, click on running backs. The article is right there. Woo, this is awesome. All right, what else you got, bub?
All right, so another one that I like that's not going to be in my 6 here because I want everyone else to look and actually read through those rest of them is a guy that I don't like, but I like what he showed last year on this team. So if you look at Sony Michel, he just had off-season surgery on his foot. We don't know where he's going to be at this current moment, with everything going on with COVID and training camps, not quite sure if they're starting up. No one is quite clear on these players with injuries, which is worrisome in a sense. But if you look at his opportunities, and if you remember him last year, the one thing you can think about Sony Michel from last year is that he completely stunk. And that's what most people will tell you. Sony Michel is his worst year ever. He didn't do anything. But if you look at this chart, you wouldn't be able to tell that by looking at his actual season numbers. You're looking at this chart in top 12 inside the 20. He's at number 8 inside the 20. He's
41 red zone carries inside the 20.
Yeah, number 6 with 27 inside the 10. And then he still doesn't get faded away. He's number 11 with 12 inside the 5-yard line. So New England knows they get a battering ram when they get onto that inside the 5, inside the 10, and they ram it right down your throat. And they don't care. They don't care who's in front of them.
That's a great point. A lot of people don't think about that. They like to run the ball inside the red zone.
Yeah, Bill Belichick is a master at that, and just literally taking what's a big front, making his offensive line with 2 tight ends, and literally smashing you down until he gets in. And it'll be the same guy every year that does it.
Yeah, I like looking at this chart. I like looking at what you've done. I just don't like Sony Michel, and I don't trust Belichick when it comes to the running backs. It's a 3-4-headed monster, and you know what? I think it's smart what you've done, but I'm fading that whole backfield.
Right. And like I said when I started, I don't like Sony Michel at all, and I'll tell you who I like later on when I get to my hot takes. But Sony Michel is not the guy, but I do like the opportunity that he's receiving. So when he, for whatever reason, whatever happens, is there or not there, someone's got to vacate that hole for them. So we'll talk about that later on in the episode here in a second.
Yeah. What's fun to me, Jesse, is whenever I start doing my analysis and I get a lot of my analysis from you guys too. I say it is my analysis, but I'm getting my information to make my analysis, my projections based on some of the work that you guys have done. It's one thing just to go and pull up stats, but you don't see these stats when you just go pull up, say, last year's stats for some player. You're not going to see this kind of stuff. So this really helps. And another thing that I really like about it is I almost always have a different opinion about a player that I had going into my analysis. You know, I've got a preconceived notion of what I think, and it always happens. I come out going, man,
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have to move that guy up.
Drilling down on a certain subject always makes a big difference, and I love the work he's done here. And
Yeah.
So what do you got next?
So as far as running backs, I'm going to hit one more, and then I want to talk a little bit about the DFS article, and then another article that I'm coming out with on HammerCast. But for me, a guy that, you know, I hit on him. I hit on him later on, so I don't want to talk about the ones I hit on there. Sorry, guys, I'm pausing for.
You're good. I'll tell you one that surprises me, but I'm really happy about it. Is Todd Gurley. I know he's on a different team, but dude, people hate Todd Gurley, and I guess I get it.
They do hate on him a lot, and it's due to injury is what they're most concerned about. But as you can see, again, he is a bulldozer. He gets plenty of opportunity. Again, a guy with last year, he was not hurt, but remember they limited him in almost every game from the start of the season. They say they were going to limit him, only play 60%, only play 70%, and work him into a full workload. So he never started with a full workload. He never ended with a full workload. But yet, looking at these numbers, it looks like he had a full workload the entire season. You know,
it looks like they knew who the boss was, is what it looks like.
When it came time to, hey, we're in the red zone, let's go ahead and sub out whoever it was, Darrell Henderson or whoever they had at the time, and let's bring in the bigs and bring in.
But the only thing you got to think about now is where he's at in Atlanta, and I think if you look a little deeper, you're not going to see many Atlanta running backs over the years that get a lot of red zone carries. That's not. I mean, you're not going to see Freeman in any of these categories, quite honestly, because let's just say he wasn't effective last year. Yeah. But you know, their style of offense that they play, you know.
Yeah, it's a great point. They're going to be pass happy. They have two giant receivers. They just got
Hayden Hurst.
Yeah.
So they have big red zone targets, and I don't know if you guys looked at their. I like looking at not just strength of schedule, but I like looking at strength of schedule compared to Vegas projected wins, because I think that strength of schedule is a lot better to use than just, you know, normal people will look at a strength of schedule that came out in the beginning of the year and it's just comparing some games. Well, the strength of schedule versus Vegas win total actually tells you a very good picture. Well, Atlanta unfortunately has the the hardest schedule by far, like the craziest hardest schedule by far. And that's going to lead to a lot of shootouts, a lot of passing. So you're right. Todd Gurley does worry me some in that they may be passing a little bit too much.
Jesse,
well, you got to injuries. I mean,
go ahead.
If he does get the volume, you know, I think it could be great. And you know, we can argue the chicken or the egg. You know, Devontae Freeman wasn't effective, so they didn't use him in there. But you know, it's just interesting when you look here. There's not a Falcon anywhere on this chart.
No, and nowhere, not in any of them. You're right.
And so it's just interesting because
what
everybody's
I was
like
say
really
is,
high
Jesse,
on Gurley.
I think you might have just hit on some absolute gold for our listeners for maybe a future podcast or episode or an article.
The strength of schedule versus Vegas.
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of my biggest tools that I like to use. I've got a guy that does it and updates it quite frequently. I don't have his name right on the top of hand, but he does a very well chart. It's pretty cool looking too. And it goes every month. He updates it, and it's a pretty cool telling, and it's always pretty accurate. You know, Vegas, they put money on a line for a reason because they're good. And I like to use that to my advantage.
Hey, before we jump into what's new coming up with the part 2 of your DFS article, I want to touch on a couple more of these running backs, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's hit them. Let's go.
The one I really want to touch on first, and we could talk about this a little bit, is the guys that I see in the top 5 pretty consistently. Obviously, you already mentioned McCaffrey. He's number 2 in overall, number 1 inside the 10, number 1 inside the 5.
Yeah.
But let's talk Nick Chubb. And Nick Chubb is 4th overall with 50 inside the 20. He's number 2 inside the 10, and he's number 3 inside the 5. So he goes from 51, 32 to 15, and he's only 2 behind Christian McCaffrey for the lead inside the 5. Now, the big topic, obviously, is Kareem Hunt. And, Kareem Hunt they made no bones about it. He's a third down receiving type back. Do you think, based on what you've seen, that Nick Chubb is going to maintain this rate of red zone carries as the primary ball carrier?
So for me personally, I think you guys are going to have Nick Chubb ranked a lot higher than I will. I'm a firm believer in Kareem Hunt, and I'm a firm believer in ever since Kareem Hunt came back after week 8, actually week 9, I think they had a bye week after that, so he actually came back week 10. From there on, I mean, it's a different story. Yes, he's still going to get all that red zone opportunity for sure, but for where you have to draft Nick Chubb, I think that there are other guys that have a clearer path at that opportunity. For example, and yes, he's holding out. If you look, I mean, identical on this chart, just below him is Dalvin Cook.
Well, that's where I was going, because Dalvin Cook is literally number 5.
Yeah.
Number 3 and number 4.
Yes.
And,
so
and he also has a lot more share of the receiving game.
Exactly. And if he doesn't hold out, there's speculation there. He's going near the back half right now because of that. Yes, he would be probably the 5th, 6th person off the board, but unfortunately, because of this holdout and because we've had issues with other running backs holding out, it scares people. That tends to push that value back for those that aren't scared and could take someone like Cook, whereas right now, Cook and Chubb are going pretty close to each other, whereas they really shouldn't. So
why don't I just share with you what's going on with that? I'm in a draft right now.
Okay, let's.
I got the 11th pick this morning. Okay, and it came to me at 11, and lo and behold, is Dalvin Cook.
Oh, you have
right
to.
There.
Yeah, you have to.
It was an auto smash for me at 111.
Yep.
Okay,
That's
he's not holding out.
Absolutely.
He's not holding out.
No.
The new labor contract is going to prohibit that. But then you got Michael Thomas and Russell Wilson went right back to back after that pick, and then I grabbed Joe Mixon on the way back. I could have taken Chubb.
Right,
Chubb went right after Mixon, but I went with Mixon, and I'll tell you why. The reasons you mentioned, as well as when I look at this chart, and I look at opportunity, and I look at first down. This is the fishbowl scoring anyway. Mixon not only was 40th overall, 40 carries inside the 20, he jumps all the way up to 6th in the inside the 10, and he's number 2, only 1 behind McCaffrey inside the 5.
Yes.
With that offense was a mess last year. I think Joe Mixon can quietly have a top 5 running back year this year, with just a slight bit of improvement from that offensive line, which they already made a huge improvement on, and a slight improvement in quarterback efficiency, which we know Burrow is going to be. I think. Well, I'm a believer. I think Burrow is going to be a really good quarterback, even as a rookie. And so people are sleeping on Mixon. I got him in the 2nd round, whereas earlier in the year, he was going 6, 7, 8. And so I was able to jump those 2 guys back to back, and they're both top 4 inside the 5-yard line for red zone carries. And so I just wanted to touch on that.
Absolutely.
That's just a really good thing to think about, because, people are looking at overall numbers and they're looking at game logs. But this puts it in better context to really dive into what that red zone opportunity is.
Yeah, because a lot of people listening are going to be presented with this same problem. It's going to get to them at the 8th, 9th, 10th pick, and they're going to have to decide: do I want to take Nick Chubb over Dalvin Cook? Do I want to take Nick Chubb over Mixon? These are the choices you have to make. And yes, it's showing that Chubb's up in there. He's definitely going to get that red zone opportunity. So are you safe with him? Yes. Are you safe with most of these bigger running backs? You are safe, because they give us this red zone opportunity and the red zone touches. Where they start to separate, for example, Dalvin Cook and Joe Mixon from Nick Chubb, is they're going to get that receiving work. I will probably, now that I'm sitting here thinking about, I need to come out with the receiving top 10, backs inside the 20, inside the 10, inside the 5 of running backs.
Pair it all together.
Hey,
that'd be really good. I
got an idea.
Can you have that done by tomorrow?
I got an idea.
I probably will.
All right, guys, we're going to leave a little bit of meat on the bone here for you. Hey, all of this is on our website at HammerCast.com. Go find out if your guy's on the list, who you're thinking about drafting. Maybe somebody you already drafted. See if they're on that list, where they fall, and come up with your own thoughts on it. And let us know what you think. And
project where you think the guys, what kind of opportunities they're going to get this year.
Exactly. I tell you what, we're going to leave it right there on that segment. But we've got something really cool to talk about. Jesse is going to talk about DFS. Jesse, what do you got, buddy?
All right. So we talked about last time on the podcast, part 1, and part 2's hitting is about to drop an article, and then we'll have part 3 come up later. Part 2 basically hits up lineup construction, which when we're talking about those running backs, cash game, I would flow very tightly to the red zone opportunity with my cash games and those running backs. Tournament lineups, a little bit of contrarian picks that we need to do there. I also go into forming a crew. And what I mean by a crew is people that you follow, that you listen to, whether it's us, I would like it to be me. I would like it to be the HammerCast Network. But if you follow other people, have some kind of crew that you listen to each week and that you follow. Then I get into basically a rundown of all the games, what kind of games there are. There's so many. There's so much lingo that people don't understand yet in DFS, and it's a really good breakdown on part 2. But what I wanted to talk about a little bit is the HammerCast Network Listener League. I've had a good, you guys don't really know my whole background, but I do run a little side business, a garage selling, buying and selling things. So it's presented a great opportunity for our team here. Not only do we get cool stuff, and I'll send it to you guys here soon. That's why I wanted to get what teams y'all liked. But for our listener league, you guys hinted at wanting to do a free league, and I thought it was a great idea. So what I'm going to do as the DFS expert or aficionado, I'm going to supply a weekly free winners prize, and this isn't usually I'm not going to give away a Kamara jersey, signed Kamara jersey, anything like that, but
come on, man.
I will promise you that each week there will be something that every single person will probably want a piece of. So that's from me, and I will send that out personally to each winner from each week during our free prize giveations.
Awesome.
For those contests. So
that's really cool that you're doing that, but we're going to double down.
Down?
HammerCast.com is obviously we're going to add to that.
Yeah, there would be cool stuff, I'm sure.
We want a lot of people playing in our inaugural HammerCast League.
Yes.
And we want them, like I said, this whole series that he's put together for us is a introduction to DFS to all of our traditional fantasy footballers. And we want them to take a dip into the DFS pool this year. And basically these articles that he's putting out right now, 1 and now part 2, are really an introduction. It's a DFS 101. We're trying to simplify it, share it with you on how it works, the lingo, the style of play, and playing in a free league that we're going to sponsor and win
prizes,
we're going to sponsor every week is a great way for you to get your feet wet. And we'll have other leagues as well that help you really give you a chance to make some money.
Yeah.
And so, it's all about learning how to budget, learning how to create a lineup, learning how to strategize, and all those things. Jesse's really good at this, guys. So get on there, get the article. You've already, part 1's already been posted, part 2's now posted, and part 3's coming up. And this is really, really essential, especially for you guys that have not played before. And our primary vessel for DFS is DraftKings. But we're going to talk DraftKings and FanDuel. They're the 2 big players. And so Jesse's working really hard, and we're proud that he's a member of the HammerCast team. And the fact that he wants to prize all of you guys is really cool. And so we're going to double down and make sure it's worth your while. So
yeah. Like I said, it's going to be worth their while for sure for those free contests. Like I said, we're trying to draw people in. We're trying to give you experience and give you an opportunity to win some cool stuff just for joining us. And all it takes is really just an email, a subscription. It's very simple to join the HammerCast Network, especially for those free listener leagues.
Yeah.
Hey,
so
like
Jesse,
some of these other sites out there, anybody who goes on DraftKings and uses our HammerCast logo as their avatar maybe we can do a cash bonus if they,
deal. And I've got lots of little things for people that want to post our little HammerCast logo that we can hand out, all kinds of cool stuff. To get a hold, you're asking Kenneth to get a hold of me. The easiest would be just to direct message me on Twitter at Jax, JAX Commish. If you wanted to email me, I can shoot you that email too. But for now, at Twitter, at Jax Commish would be the easiest way. That way I can add you to a list that I've got going so that when the player prices get announced and the games get announced, I can create the league and start adding everybody into it.
Awesome. Well, hopefully by then we have our link right to DraftKings from the website by the time we get ready to start that. We're expecting that anytime now. This is going to be, man, I can't wait.
It's going to be fun,
y'all.
You know what I'm scared about? I'm scared about Kenneth getting into DFS.
No, what you're scared about is me having a bigger house than you after I take all of his advice.
I'm not worried about that.
Okay.
You know what that means is even when I come over, I'm still sleeping with a fitted sheet and a rolled up pair of jeans as a pillow.
Yeah, if you're lucky. Hey, but you know what? I'll feed you good. Some nice leftover.
Oh my God, he will feed you good even at 5 a.m.
What happens?
Hey, let's do a couple shot takes and get Jesse out of here.
That's awesome. Right. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, deal. If you guys don't mind, I'll start with mine. If it's pretty wild.
Jump in, boy. Let's go.
We'll take 1 second. We'll take a quick break, and we'll come right back and do our shot takes.
Deal.
All right, guys, are y'all ready for the shot takes?
Hell yeah.
Oh, yes.
All right. Jesse's going to get started with some shot takes. All right, bro.
All right, this one I know it was going to shock some, and I hope I don't lose some followers because of it, but Rex Burkhead will lead the New England backfield this year. We talked about it earlier. We talked about Sony Michel with all the opportunities and red zones that he receives. Unfortunately, he just had surgery on a foot that he's had multiple injuries for. I am also predicting that he's going to land up on the PUP. Damian Harris had his shot. He did not do it as a rookie. It's time for Sexy Rexy to step back in and take over the role.
You're crazy.
Are you saying
first of all,
Rex
how do you call
Damian
Harris had a shot? How many carries did he get?
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, I know his shot wasn't a bunch, but he did get opportunity last year and didn't do much with it.
I like it. You're going to fit right in just really, really good here at HammerCast.
Oh, my gosh.
Because that's about as crazy as –
All right, let's put that on Twitter. Let's do a poll. No, let's don't do a poll.
No. But you know what? We're all gonna feel crazy when he slams us with a
wait for it.
We want to maintain some credibility.
I'll own him in every league for sure because he's so dirt cheap. But we'll see.
Sexy Rex is gonna be the theme of 2020.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. Hey, you know what? I've seen crazier things happen. Not much crazier, but. I'm just teasing you. Dave, give us one.
All right, let me do my shot.
Oh, Lord.
I've been doing a lot of deep diving and a lot of research and a lot of digging in a little bit. And I've changed my mind on something. I've changed my mind on how I feel about Robbie Anderson.
Oh, you're high on him now?
I'm higher on him, and there's a lot of things about Robbie Anderson that we're taking for granted. He was just not very good under Adam Gase. He was not very good with Sam Darnold learning the game. No threat across the field from him. He's going back. You got to realize that Matt Rule was his coach at Temple.
Yeah,
that's why they went and got him. They know what his skill set is. They paid him $20 million for 2 years. Okay, they have big plans for him. Joe Brady's going to be the offensive coordinator. He's 6'3", 190. You know about his speed. I believe that they're going to bring him in, and I believe he's going to end up being the wide receiver number 2 for that team. Curtis Samuel, he's had 2 years to get it done, and I love the talent. I love the skill set on Curtis Samuel. But, even with the air yards that he got last year, he did not convert. And they brought this guy in. They paid him. They know him. They're familiar with him. And Joe Brady has a way of making all the receivers work and earn it. I just drafted Robbie Anderson in Scott Fishbowl in the 18th round.
Yeah, he's going crazy.
The 18th round, wide receiver 76. And
All
I'm
right.
telling
So
you
what's
guys,
your,
my shot
so
take
your
is he's
shot
going to
take
be a
is gonna
wide receiver 3 at the worst, if not a wide receiver 2.
Okay.
And so when you can get a guy that's going to be, in that 24 to 36 range in the 16th, 17th, and 18th round, that's a guy you want to go up and snag, especially in an offense being executed by Joe Brady and Matt Rule. And so there's my shot take.
Nice. I actually love it. I love it just because of the coaches. I think they really are going to make that offense work, and they have a very efficient quarterback. So it should put it all together.
All right. Well, I feel like I just listened to you give a dissertation on Robbie Anderson. Mine's going to be like 2 seconds.
It's going to be a Curtis Samuel.
I didn't do that much research.
Let's hear it. Drum roll for this one.
Oh Lord. All right. I can see that though, Dave. It makes sense. I've actually seen some people kind of hinting at that lately. That's a good one. Mine is going to be from the Tennessee Titans, my favorite team, and where I'm at here in the press box right now. And you can see on the field back there.
A lot of action going on up there.
Yeah, a lot of action. It's funny how I got all those people to stop walking around when I started the show.
If I look closely, they're all about 6 feet apart.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, even the crowd. Look, that's going to be the normal Sunday crowd. Corey Davis, guys. This guy sparks a little bit of polarizing views, I think. I'm on the side that thinks that he could have finally his breakout. Okay? I'm going to say Corey Davis. It's a big number. 1,000-yard receiver.
Oh my goodness! I was thinking you were going to say that.
Well, let's think about that. Let's just say, that's a good take. I think it's absolutely possible.
He's got the skill set to do it. It's.
Let's say Tannehill throws for 3,800 yards, or let's just say 3,500 yards.
Yeah.
Say 1,300 go to A.J. Brown. Where's the other 2,200 going?
Yeah. And there's not very many other people.
I was trying to look real quick. So he had 601 yards last year. So that's what I was trying to figure out.
Right.
How crazy it was.
You got Henry and Evans back there. You got Jonnu Smith's I think is going to take a big step up. I don't think that's I think it's a great take.
Actually. Yeah, it's not that far off
talent.
Yeah. In 2018, he had 891 yards on 65 receptions. So it won't take that big of a jump. He's just going to have to eat into A.J. Brown's share, which is going to be tough because that man's a beast.
How many other comp for targets are there out there?
Oh, yeah. Outside of that,
Johnny
there's
Smith, and you got Johnny Smith's probably going to get, 50 receptions? Maybe?
Yeah, 50, 60. Yeah, 50 to 60.
Something like that. And then you're going to have, I don't know.
Yeah, it's got to go somewhere.
You're going to have Humphreys. How many is Humphreys going to get?
And they hardly throw it to Henry. Yeah.
I think Humphreys is underrated.
Well, hey, also. Remember, I did a hot take a while back where I said Henry's going to get 30 catches.
Okay, yeah. I think he will this year. I mean, this is the year. If he's going to get more receptions, they paid him a bunch of money. Why would you pay a guy that much money to not throw the ball more to him? It just doesn't make sense.
You know what? That screen pass works pretty good for them.
Yeah.
Hey, those are good. Not too bad. I really liked your response to mine. I thought y'all were going to sell me down the river. But
the guy's good. The guy. Well, you know what? He was good coming out of college. I don't think you just get bad. I think they had a bad. I mean, Mariota. Let's face it.
Well, he hadn't had a quarterback ever.
And so you know what? Of course, you know me. I'm a Titans fan also, and so I'm sounding like a homer. But you know what? I'm optimistic. I've drafted some shares of him, and so you know what? Let's see what he does.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, hey guys, do you got anything else for us, Jesse? What do you got? What's coming up? What's coming up in part 3 of the article?
Oh, coming up actually not in part 3. Part 3 article is coming up, but I do have a fantasy relevant irrelevance. It's basically talking about the last person
He's just
drafted
drinking 7-Up
in your drafts. Yeah, no, exactly. 7-Up's getting to me. So it talks about the latest guys in drafts, really deep, super flex leagues, things like that. I'll hit on some late guys that people are forgetting about.
Oh,
I'll save you some time on that article.
Irrelevance.
Yeah, relevant irrelevance. Yeah.
I'll save you some time on that article. Here's what happens. They all get cut.
Yeah, we'll see.
Not all of them.
This is a crazy year. You never know. Handcuff your running backs.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Stay tuned for the next episodes. We got a lot more fun stuff to come. Make sure that you go to HammerCast.com. It's really important to us. And hopefully, before too long, once you get there, it'll be really important to you that you go there and visit and enjoy the things that you see. Thanks a lot, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, guys. Peace out.
Peace out.
Did you get all that? If not, make sure you head over to HammerCast.com, subscribe, and join the Hammer Nation. Until next time, keep grinding.